Hey everyone, Gil Gross here post-match. Novak Djokovic versus Alexander Zverev, ATP Finals 2021 semifinal. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Alexander Zverev takes out Novak Djokovic in 3 sets to advance to the final. He'll play Daniil Medvedev there. A lot of similarities circumstantially between this and the Olympics. Best of three, hard court, 3 set win for Zverev. I was kind of regretting my pick. I think I should have snuffed this one out because this is the spot where Zverev is most dangerous, and he played a really good match here for the most part. So, it was a very good version of Zverev. And we know a good version of Zverev should match up pretty well with Novak Djokovic. It's just that he often can't bring his best because his mind prevents him from doing it. And Novak's mind is the opposite, and he always rises to the occasion. But in this match, that dynamic wasn't overly stark. And the first point I want to make is that Zverev showed off a lot of really good match feel in this one, and I think it's the main reason he won the match. There were ebbs and flows here, and Zverev rode them well, and here's what I mean. Djokovic was pretty rock solid in the first set. He was patient, he was consistent, and it got really tight, really close. By the way, both players served incredibly well in this opening set. They were almost like serve botting back and forth with a lot of unreturned first serves. And this thing got really tight and went to a tiebreak. And what do we talk about with Zverev in a tiebreak? Is he going big, flat, down the line? Is he taking the appropriate risk with his ground strokes to actually try to do damage and not give his opponent all the time in the world to wait for their opportunity to do said damage? Is he passive? And in this case, in this tiebreak, Zverev hits two massive backhands down the line, one at love one, and then the one that will really be remembered is at 5-4 on the heels of a long rally where Djokovic hits a slice and Zverev hits a massive backhand on the line for a clean winner, and then finishes the set with the service winner. These are the kinds of points. I know I'm talking about 2 points here, but Djokovic had set points in the first set. This first set epitomized a game of inches. These are the kinds of things that Zverev has not come up with consistently enough, and he does it in this first set in big spots, trusting the amazing weapon that is his backhand, trusting it enough to up the ante on it, and does that successfully. So that's big. Then, as the match went on, starting really immediately in the second set, Novak really changed. He did not want to engage in long rallies anymore. His patience dropped. In the second set, he was playing with a lot of irritation, in my opinion, frustrated that he didn't win the first set. And then, he started to play with intensity, but a ton of aggression. I mean, a really atypical amount of aggression from Djokovic, especially on the forehand side. And from that point on, although Novak won the second set, Zverev did lean on his high percentage tennis and ultimately fell back on far superior rally tolerance to get the better of Novak. So why do I say Zverev had impressive match feel? Because tennis is a lot about feeling your opponent on the other side of the net. And when Novak was rock solid, Zverev was willing to take risks. When Novak started swinging somewhat wildly, Zverev sensed that as well and was able to dial back and go back to really what he's most comfortable with, which is the high percentage tennis. Let's try to drag these rallies out and use the defense and find the errors out of my opponent. So the way Zverev kind of ebbed and flowed his aggression level, which is often such a problem for him in his game, was really, really good. And why do I say rally tolerance completely made the difference? Well, if you just look at the breakdown of points won, 0 through 4 shot rallies, dead even. 5 through 8 shot rallies, dead even. 9+ shots, 24-13 Zverev. Novak didn't have the patience, especially after the first set. First set, they played some great rallies. I thought Djokovic was solid, but after that, the rally tolerance was way down. So let's talk about that. We all know that one of Zverev's main strengths is his rally tolerance and his consistency. He loves the lung-busting rallies. He will hang in very, very tough. But Djokovic usually can too. He didn't do that well in this match. And this is pretty typical for what we see with Djokovic in general when it comes to the fluctuations throughout the season in his rally tolerance. So to make a broad point here, and the same thing was true really in Paris. Medvedev better in the super long rallies, so Djokovic making adjustments for short point dominance. And in this case, he couldn't do that. Zverev doesn't have the holes in his return strategy that Medvedev has, and serve volleying over and over again wasn't really going to be effective, although he did use it in some key spots effectively. All in all, what I'm trying to say is this. When Djokovic is not in his peak fitness, which is generally 3 months out of the year, January, June into early August for Wimbledon, and early July for Wimbledon, and then late August into early September for the US Open. If Djokovic is not near those pockets of time, we have seen late in his career, this wasn't true in his prime, this wasn't true when he was younger, but at this stage in his career, we've seen his fitness go up and down and up and down. And this is one of these spots where it's been down. I mean, we can look at the numbers. We see that he hasn't won these year-end championships in what will now be 6 years, having last won it in 2015, a tournament that he won at 1.4 times in a row. And these are the reasons why it's not an excuse, it's an explanation. So Zverev at this stage, again, much more consistent and much tougher in the longer rallies, out-dueling Novak, who was much more desperate to find finishes. And what does Zverev do? He keeps the ball deep in the court. He moves fantastically well. He doesn't really push, right? He keeps the ball out of the middle, but he's also not taking any unnecessary risk. It's high percentage. And he's playing that game a lot better than Novak throughout the second and the third set. I want to end with just a chronological synopsis. Again, there were key moments in this match in the first set where you really felt like it was inches. You did have set points for Novak in the first set at 4-5, and Zverev hit a service winner at 30-40. The block by Djokovic floated just long. Who knows if that lands in? What happens in the rest of that rally? And then Zverev comes up with an 138-mile-per-hour second serve for another unreturned. Very, very key spot here at 4-5. In 5-all, Djokovic somehow doesn't get broken. One of the most beautiful half volleys you'll see at 30-40, and that's what forces the tiebreak. The key mini break in the tiebreak, I didn't mention this, besides the backhands down the line. The key mini break in the tiebreak was a Djokovic drop shot that clipped the top of the net and just sat up a half a second longer. Now, I don't think it would have been a winner if it didn't hit the top of the net, but it would have been a difficult shot for Zverev, and instead it was a rather easy cross-court angle redrop for Zverev, clean winner, and that was the mini break in that first set tiebreak that Zverev ends up winning it. Now, while I think that Novak was fractionally actually the better player in the first set, I think that he was also very lucky at the start of the second set, where he was not playing very good tennis at all and really leaned on his first serve repeatedly to get him out of multiple holes when his patience was just not in a good spot, making a lot of easy errors. And that's when I mentioned previously he was playing with a lot of irritation and cloudy head. But he serves his way out of that. And then at 4-all, at this point, Djokovic is more clear-headed, but still playing with insane aggression. And in this 4-all game, he plays so many unbelievable dictating points, hitting out on his forehand with an incredible amount of pace, very flat, very, very aggressive, but just enough control to keep the ball in the court, keeps Zverev on his heels. It's an impressive game. He dialed in his return as well at this point, and that's the kind of game that, again, I don't think Djokovic played a lot of great games in the second set. This was one of them, but in general, I don't think the percentage was high, but he got this one. And then he closes it out. Very tight hold, where again, he's getting a lot of aces, a lot of service winners. And his unreturned percentage, Djokovic's, was actually higher than Zverev's in this match. This court was great for Novak. It was so fast that his spot serving was unbelievably accentuated. When you hit your spots on a fast court, you're going to get a lot of payoff. And it was a perfect serving court for Djokovic, and amazing serving by Novak, even in the losing effort. In the third set, we'll go to 1-2 where Zverev breaks. Forehand unforced error, forehand unforced error, forehand unforced error, backhand unforced error. There's your 4 points. And Zverev breaks at 40. Yeah, all mistakes by Novak. And I got to say, it was just kind of felt inevitable the way Novak was playing. With the ultra-aggressive style, there was going to be a loose game. So then the question was, would Zverev return the favor? Would Zverev get tight, up a break in the third set? And he did. At 4-2, Zverev got extremely tight and handed over his best weapon, his first serve. Too nervous to hit a fast first serve. Still got a service winner on the opening point. Novak should have returned it, no doubt about it. Got another service winner at 30-15. Novak should have returned it. At this point, the way Zverev is hitting, it's almost a half moon ball on the ground strokes. Maximum height and net clearance, middle of the court. You could just see, clear as day, how nervous he was. And the only explanation was that he was so nervous, it actually made Novak nervous, that's all Novak's fault. I mean, this was a terrible game by Djokovic to not break serve. He did have a break point, and Djokovic hit a forehand unforced error. Absolutely easy miss, nothing ball, no pace, no nothing. Complete unforced error by every sense of the definition. And then at deuce, Novak dictates. Zverev plays good defense, but terrible drop shot by Novak to end the point. Zverev finally hits a service winner. This was his best service winner. I mentioned a couple that Djokovic should have returned, but this was on a second serve that he hit big. And it was amazing, by the way, how often Zverev hit his second serve big without double faulting in this match. Zverev with a love hold. So that was the nervous moment at 4-2. He got a couple of service winners to close it out. Some unforced errors though that Novak really really just won at 30 love. Other than that, great serving by Zverev to close it out, and he wins. So chronological assessment there, I think very necessary because this was a match of key moments and ebbs and flows and momentum swings, and Zverev managed that very well. So another win from him for him over Novak Djokovic, best of 3 in a hard court in a semifinal. The head-to-head is 7-4, and now Zverev gets the third crack at Daniil Medvedev in 13 days. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.